Thanks for taking some time out of your afternoon today to help me discuss meal prepping and meal planning ideas to make healthy eating like super easy. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the different methods of meal prepping, the cooking methods, as well as the tools that you're going to need for a successful time of meal prepping so that you will learn to enjoy it instead of it being overwhelming and a chore. So to start with is the best thing to do when it comes to the meal prepping methods is you can pick a day that you want to do this on. Many people do it on Sunday because they get their groceries on the weekend, they have some time so that they can prepare some food for the coming week. It all depends on what your schedule is and what works best for your life. Sometimes it's just easier to prep a few items ahead of time so that they're quick and easy to grab. So for instance, if you chopped up a bunch of vegetables that you could easily just toss in the oven and roast to accompany any meal, or if you have some other, again, vegetables chopped up, you can just throw it in a skillet and do a stir fry with very minimal prepping to go with it. Another really good tip, and one of my favorites that I use a lot, is doubling the recipe. So when you make more than what you're going to have that night, you have the opportunity to have leftovers that the next day for lunch or for dinner. You can throw it in the freezer for when you need a quick meal on the go as well. And the last method that we'll talk about is the buffet style, which is you've prepped up a bunch of vegetables and some meats and some fruit so that it's all ready to go. It's mealtime, you pull it out, and it's a buffet style. Everybody gets to choose what they like. Somebody likes cauliflower, great. Somebody prefers the carrots, great. They're there, they get their vegetables in. They want fruit, you have a little bit of a melon cut up, you have some berries ready to go. Again, people can choose what they like. You have your cold cuts that are nitrate free. You have those ready to go. You put that on there. Again, people can choose which ones they like. This is also great for when you have company come over and they can go ahead and, you know, it's a quick, easy meal for you to go ahead and bring out a bunch of stuff. It's great if you're having a busy day and you don't have a lot of time to prepare dinner because you got to get the kids to one activity to the next, or you have a late evening meeting, or you're working late. You can do it buffet style and you still get your food groups that you need. You can still watch your portions as well, and you can have a really healthy, enjoyable meal. So just to review, the 4 prepping methods are pick a day or a couple days if you want to spread it out over 2 days. Do up a few ingredients ahead of time so that they're there ready to go and less work at the actual meal time. Double the recipe so that you have leftovers for those nights or lunches that you need that quick, easy meal and you're good to go. Or buffet style. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat and I definitely will address those. So the next area is, now that you've decided how you're going to meal prep, do you have the right tools? So what is a really good tool to use is glass containers, because then you can see through them. When you go into the fridge, you can see what's in them, or if they're in the cupboard, you can see what's in it. You don't have to guess, you don't have to open it up and go, what is this? Oh my gosh, this has been in the fridge too long. And you're more likely to use it because you see it, you remember it. Another good one is Ziploc bags. We use the 2 different sizes actually. And they're freezer bags that we use. And that. So we've got they call them the medium ones, and then we use the large ones. And what I use these primarily for is when I buy my meat in bulk, then I have it portioned out for when I'm ready to use it. I could just pull out the exact amount I need and I'm good to go. But we have some other ideas that you can use the Ziploc bags for as well. We'll discuss later in this over the next 3 days. Another good tool to have is have a good set of knives. I've got some Cuisinart ones. My hubby will sharpen these up on a regular basis so that it's easy to cut through the harder rinds of melons or the squashes. It just makes cutting anything much easier, especially when we do up chicken. I like to cut chicken into little chunks so we get like that nugget idea, or I cut them into strips for the fajita type chicken and they're ready to go. But if you don't have a good knife, a sharp knife, you got some problems. The other thing that goes with the knives is having cutting boards. So I've got 2 sizes that I use on a regular basis. I got this little guy, and he's for like the smaller things, or if I'm grating cheese, I'll put the cheese grater on top. And then I've got a larger one that you can tell I use it quite a bit. It's getting a little worn too. So don't be afraid to replace them when they do started to get worn out. I don't cross-contaminate my cutting boards, so I never put meat on them. I use my platter to cut my meat. So there's that little idea as well. Also, have your measuring cups handy, or have your portion containers handy so that you can measure out that proper portion. So if you're looking to get the right portion for vegetable, you've got your cup there, which is your green container, and that is a cup. So you can quickly measure it and put it into the individual serving if you're doing individual servings, or if you'll need the measuring cups if you're doing recipes. The other one that we often forget about is when we're doing meal prep or when we're cooking, we're standing in the kitchen a long time, and usually it's a hardwood floor or a laminate. It's a hard surface. So our feet can get a little tired, especially if we've been on the go. So my recommendation here is an anti-fatigue mat. You will love that one. Your feet will thank you. Your knees, your hips, your back, your entire body will thank you because of that extra cushion. So those are a lot of the tools that you're going to need. Obviously, you're going to need like pots and pans to cook, or pots and pans. Maybe some containers to store it in. But we'll go over that later in the week as well, because I've got some good tips on storage. And the last one I want to talk about is cooking methods, because there really are umpteen amounts of ways to cook food. The options are quite limitless. But to kind of help us get the meal prep done in an efficient manner, I've selected a few. One is the Instant Pot. So you can throw everything in there, turn it on, and you have the one pot and your whole meal is done quick and easy. Which, if you don't have a lot of time to cook a large meal for your family in the evening, you can throw it in there, it gets done, your family gets fed, and it's not waiting for hours for that food to cook in the oven. A sheet pan or a cookie sheet is always a good one too, because then you put your parchment paper down, which is another tool that your kitchen should always have. And I get the Costco ones. So you put your parchment paper down, you put your vegetables down that you're going to roast. You can mix them together, or you can put them into different rows of the different vegetables. Put your seasonings on, bake it in the oven, you're good to go. Even if you're baking chicken or fish and you have them seasoned, the parchment paper will come in handy for that as well. Another one is the slow cooker. So if you're the kind of person who wants to be prepared in the morning for dinner that night, you throw what you need into your crock pot, set it for the amount of time you need, and forget it. It cooks as you go about your day, which is really great option for another one pot type meal. Which brings me to the fourth one, which is the one pot meal. So that is cooking it on the stove. So that is an example of that is when I do manwages for us. I do everything in the one pot, including throwing the vegetables right in to my manwich. So it's loaded with vegetables. And that one pot, easy to clean up, and dinner is done, and I don't have to worry about much cleanup afterwards. Another way of prepping food that I really enjoy, and so does Kurt, is to steam it. And I actually have a microwave steamer from Tupperware. So I just put a little bit of water in there, put my veggies in there, put the lid on it, and pop it into the microwave. And 15-20 minutes, I've got steamed vegetables. And if it's already pre-cut, there's less work for me on the cooking time because I don't have to do all the prep work. And these are designed for the microwave. There's no sparking, there's no danger to the food, the microwave, your safety. It's all good that way. And those are my 5 ways of doing the meal prepping. So just to kind of recap, we talked about being prepared with your method, what you're going to use. So again, really quickly, first one is pick a day. Number 2 is do up a few ingredients ahead of time. 3, double the recipe. 4, buffet style. And the meal prep tools that I find are very, very helpful is 1, glass containers or glass jars. Ziploc bags is number 2. Number 3 is a good set of knives and cutting boards. And 4 is measuring cups or portion containers. And 5 is the anti-fatigue mat. And then there is your cooking methods. Again, your Instapot is number 1. Not that I'm favoring one over the other. 2 is the sheet pan or the cookie sheet. 3 is a slow cooker. 4 is one pot. And 5 is steaming them. So I hope that you got some value out of here. That you got some ideas on how to start off your meal prep. And let me know if you have any questions. Drop it in the chat, send me a DM, and we will talk to you all soon.